Ever wondered how professional photographers capture stunning images? The secret lies in mastering the exposure triangle, a fundamental concept in photography. This magic triangle is a harmonious balance of aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, the three musketeers that control the amount of light reaching your camera sensor. Think of it as a dance, with each element moving in sync to create the perfect shot. Mastering this concept will turn your good photos into great ones. Ready to unravel the mystery of the exposure triangle? Buckle up. First up, aperture. Think of it as the eye of your camera. It controls the amount of light that enters your camera. You see, the aperture is a bit like your pupil. When it's bright, your pupil shrinks to let in less light, right? Similarly, a smaller aperture represented by a larger f number allows less light into your camera, resulting in a darker but more focused image. On the flip side, just as your pupil expands in low light, a larger aperture represented by a smaller f number allows more light in. This results in a brighter image, but here's the kicker: it also creates a shallower depth of field. That means only a small portion of your image will be in sharp focus, while the rest fades into a lovely blur, perfect for those dreamy portraits. So the aperture is like the eye of your camera, controlling how much light gets in and how much of your image is in focus. Next, we have shutter speed, which is all about timing. It's the duration your camera's shutter is open, allowing light to hit the sensor. Imagine shutter speed as a window. A brief opening, like a blink, lets in a sliver of light. That's what a fast shutter speed, say 1/500th of a second, does. It freezes motion, capturing that split second in time, but it also lets in less light, so you'll want to use it in well-lit situations or when you want to stop action cold. On the flip side, a slow shutter speed, like 1/30th of a second, keeps the window open longer. It's like a lazy yawn, letting in more light. But it also records any movement as a blur, which can add a sense of motion or even a dreamy quality to your shots. So remember, shutter speed is your tool for freezing or blurring motion while controlling the light's duration in your image. Finally, we have ISO. This is your camera's sensitivity to light. Now, imagine you're in a dimly lit room and you need to read a book. You can't change the size of the windows, that's your aperture, nor the blinking speed of your eyes, that's your shutter speed. What do? You turn up the lights, right? That's exactly what increasing your ISO does. It brightens up your image. However, there's a catch. Cranking up the ISO is like turning up the volume on a weak radio signal. Sure, you can hear the music better, but there's also more static, or in the case of photography, more noise or grain. On the other hand, if you're shooting on a sunny day, you can afford to keep your ISO low. This results in cleaner, crisper images. So ISO is a balancing act, just like the rest of photography. So ISO is your camera's volume control for light. Increasing it brightens the image, but too much might just give you a grainy mess. So there you have it, the exposure triangle. It's all about balancing these three elements to create the perfect shot. To recap, aperture controls the depth of field, shutter speed affects motion blur, and ISO influences the image's brightness. Mastering this trio allows you to move beyond automatic settings, taking full control of your photography. It's a bit like juggling, keep everything in balance, and you'll capture the world as you see it. Remember, photography is an art, and you are the artist. The exposure triangle is your palette. Now go out there and create some masterpieces.